Facilitation certificate. It's so great to see you all here for our first session of what's going to be a 5-week certification process. We're going to learn a bunch about facilitation. We're going to learn a bunch about design thinking. Y'all are going to have some opportunities to practice. And then, of course, there is a final deliverable, which will be to deliver a 1-hour workshop with a group of your choosing. But the goal is for you at the end of this course to have a hands-on opportunity to actually put this skill into practice, okay? If you haven't yet, I'll leave this up for another 10-15 seconds. Please fill out the pre-survey. What we're trying to do is get an idea of what y'all want to get out of the course, as well as what you know from the course about the course material so far. There will also be a post-survey at the end of this to measure the effectiveness of the course. This is the first time we're running this, so very open to feedback in the flow of the course and how it goes. So congratulations on being the first cohort. Go ahead, give yourself a round of applause here to start us off. So welcome. This is our logo. I think something that I was really hoping to work with when we were designing the logo is that this is supposed to be a toolkit. What you're going to come away from this course with is a set of tools on how to actually improve your facilitation and use like facilitation tools, as well as tools within the design thinking space to actually design different design dashes and sprints that look different and have different exercises in them. So the agenda. Today we're going to do a focus moment to start off. I'll explain what that is in a second. We'll do an introduction of who I am and who all of y'all are. We'll go through the program outline, what we're going to cover over the course of the next 5 weeks. We'll talk about learning objectives, so at the end of the course, what y'all will hopefully be able to do, how the course will work. Then we're going to do a design dash. It's going to be really quick, but this is a great way to start off and show you this is what hopefully you will be able to do at the end, and so you can experience. For some of you, you are very comfortable with design thinking and design dashes, but for others, this is new. So this is an opportunity for everybody to kind of start off on the same page. We'll do a quick feedback, and we'll have you out here by 6 o'clock. I know Vanderbilt's playing basketball tonight, so hopefully we'll get you all to that in time. Anchor down. So, focus moment. This is something that I like to do at the beginning of each one of the sessions. It's going to be really quick, 1 minute. And the goal is we're just going to give 1 minute for everybody to kind of dial in, to get their mindset into a place where you're grounded here. I honestly like to just do a minute of silence. You can close your eyes, you can focus on breathing, you can eat, close out your email, whatever you got to do. But it's just going to be 1 minute to bring everybody to this space right now, okay? Okay, so this is going to be my first time using. These are my very, very excellent chimes. These are one of the tools that are in the Facilitator's toolkit. It's a very easy way to get 30 people's attention without having to yell. You can find these on Amazon for $12. I highly recommend them. But okay, thanks for having a moment, getting focused, getting grounded, all of us together. So let's quickly talk about who I am as well as who all of you are. I'll give you a very, very brief introduction of who I am, and then I'm going to let you all do a little bit of introducing yourself. So who am I and why am I leading this program? My name is Tim Satterthwaite, and I am an innovation facilitator. Oh, this is going to be difficult. I'm an innovation facilitator here at the Wond'ry. I recently graduated from Peabody with the Masters of Education, focused on leadership and organizational performance. Before I came to grad school, I had a background in outdoor facilitation, so I worked in experiential learning spaces and outdoor education. And so I've had a lot of experience over the past 8 years working in facilitation. I'm super passionate about it, and I believe it's a super powerful tool that everybody should have a chance to practice and improve. So this is what I do in the outdoors. I do a lot of facilitation, but you just do it in the snow. And then this is what I do in the indoors. So this was at the TFC summit that I went to with some of y'all. But all of it at the end of the day is a practice of facilitation. How do you engage a group of people? How do you walk them through a problem, an outline, whatever it looks like, in a way that's engaging to them and beneficial for everybody, right? So who are all of you? If you look around, this is quite a big group. I'm super happy to see all of you out here. So in this group, it's a total mixed bag. We have undergraduate students, we have graduate students, we have VU faculty, VU staff, and community members as well, which is really exciting. So this is not only an opportunity for you to build skills, but also build a community of people that are interested in improving in facilitation. And we'll talk about facilitation a lot, but the best way to do it is to watch other people do it and to practice. That's the best way to improve your facilitation. And when you have a community of people, you can bounce ideas off of, you can invite co-facilitators in. So part of this is also to build a community. And of the students that are here, we have students from engineering, arts and sciences, from the business school, as well as Peabody. So what I'd love for all of you to do, this was an exercise that I took from one of my co-facilitators here at the Wond'ry, is feel free to grab a Post-it note. There should be Post-it notes and Sharpies. And I want you to write one thing on 3 Post-it notes that you're curious about. And it doesn't have to be about facilitation. It could be anything in the world. What is something that you would like to learn more about? And go ahead and write that down. In about a minute, we're going to have everybody just shout your name and one thing that you're curious about learning about and see if we can start making those connections. Don't stress about it too much. I'll just start us off. My name is Tim. As you all know, one thing that I'm super curious about that I've mentioned to some of my coworkers is mycology, the study of fungal networks and mushrooms. I think they're absolutely fascinating, and the more we learn about them, the less we know about them. And they're everywhere. So they'll be here long before we're gone. They're here before us, and they'll be gone. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyways. Does anyone want to start us off, and then your table can just go with the name and something you're curious about? Yes? Excellent. All right, one thing I'm also going to do is when someone finishes, we're just going to snap on 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Thank you. Okay, so 2 things that I want to quickly mention. First of all, y'all have such an amazingly diverse set of interests. I know all of them are, they're pretty wide. I want to say that this methodology, hopefully what you're taking away from this course, will allow you a space to learn more about that topic with a group of people. And you can do it. Like, we're going to provide you a structured methodology to actually walk through and get a group of people's insights and see if you can dial in on something. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to point out is that something about this course is going to be a little bit meta in the sense that I am obviously like leading and facilitating a course. So I'm actually going to pause at moments and point out things that would be useful to take note of as facilitators for all of you. So I quickly want to point out 2 things. And that's Dan right here. We're going to talk about roles of facilitators next week. But Dan helping out with technology, this is why you typically don't facilitate by yourself. There's typically a front of room facilitator and a back of room or multiple back of room facilitators to help make things run smoothly. So that's shout out to Dan, and also shout out to Jackie, who there was a couple people that I skipped over just in the sea of people that Jackie was helpful to point out and say, yes, like make sure you come back to these people. That's super important to have a facilitation team. So that'll happen a couple times throughout the course where I'll pause and point out something that happened as just a learning opportunity to say, this is why we do things the way that we're doing them. Cool, so let's quickly walk through the program over the course of the next 5 weeks. What are we going to get to? Today, introduction, how the course works. We're going to do a design dash. Like I said, many of you may be familiar with a design dash. It's always fun to do it with a new group of people, and it's an opportunity, if you've done a lot of them, pay attention to how I'm facilitating, see if there's anything that you're picking up that you want to try out later in the course. That's how you know, that's how you use facilitation techniques. You try them out, see if they work for you. Next week, Facilitation 101, we're going to talk about best practices, key skills, and kind of the competencies, the 5 key competencies that I've developed around facilitation, especially for this type of facilitation. Week 3, we're going to dive into the empathize and define phases of design thinking. We're going to start giving you and building out that toolkit with different exercises that you can actually use in those phases. Week 4 is going to be in the solution space, so ideate, prototype, test. This is where you'll have a chance to, again, see, experience, and hopefully lead some brainstorming and some prototyping exercises. And then week 5 is finally going to be using the toolkit. How do you design a workshop? How do you integrate design thinking into other areas of your life? And also the importance of feedback, right? Feedback is going to be a key part of this course throughout. So we're actually going to touch feedback next week as well. But again, the course is kind of meta, and this is the first time we're running it. I'm accepting feedback. I hope y'all are comfortable and will be comfortable giving each other feedback at some point, because again, that's how you improve your skills. And again, as I mentioned, the final deliverable is a 1-hour workshop for a group of your choosing. There's not a whole lot of rules around that. Choose whoever you want. We want you to use your skills, obviously. You're welcome to facilitate with more than one person. I would ideally want to keep it to 3 facilitators or less, but we can talk more about the final deliverable later. So at the end of the course, these are our learning objectives. Hopefully you will feel comfortable facilitating a design thinking workshop, understanding different facilitator roles, like I just mentioned, front of room, back of room, and we'll touch on what those roles look like. Understand what the 5 key facilitator competencies, very important. This is not comprehensive. Facilitation is a massive field. We're trying to equip you all with specifically facilitation skills for design thinking. Give and receive actionable feedback. Introduce and facilitate multiple different exercises for each step of the design thinking process. So we'll take you through a design dash today where you'll get a taste of some very quick ones, and we'll take you deeper. And then the last one is design a workshop that addresses your participant needs. So to walk you through brief overview, what are the core competencies actually going to look like for facilitation? The first one is back-end organization, goals, logistics, process. Second one, setting the vibe, environment, group culture, expectations. Third one, executing the plan. This is about feedback, facilitation tools, participation. Flexibility and adaptation. This is about group dynamics, momentum, roles. And then finally, wrapping it up. This is about progress review, habits, documentation. See these colors? They're going to look very familiar, because we're also going to be tying it in with the design core competencies, the design thinking ones. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and then this last one is iterate. So as I go through the course, you're going to see I'm going to be matching up various facilitation competencies with the design thinking ones. And you'll see that they actually line up much closer. As I was developing the course, I was like, wow, this actually is like lining up really, really well. So the course, we're going to use trios in the course a lot. And the reason why I believe in trios as a powerful facilitation tool, especially as you're learning, is that there can always be one observer whose sole job is to look and provide feedback as 2 other facilitators or 2 other people are doing an exercise, right? One person is facilitating a conversation. The observer is watching the back and forth. So as we go through opportunities to practice in this course, there's going to be a lot of trio work where I'll just say, get in a trio, and then what you get to do is you get to rotate, right? 5 minutes with your trio, and then you rotate. And everyone will get a chance to observe and give feedback, everyone will get a chance to facilitate, and everyone will get a chance to engage in whatever the facilitation is, okay? So trios are really important, and I think they're a really powerful tool. Here are the expectations. These are my expectations for the course. That you commit to being open-minded, and that's open-minded to feedback. That's open-minded to meeting the people around you, to trying new things. The goal is here to build a skill. The only way you can improve is to step into the unknown and the uncomfortable. Also, come to the program. It's only 5 weeks. So if you can come, what we want is everybody to come to every session and do that final deliverable, which is the final commitment to get the certification process at the end. Any questions, comments on expectations? I think an expectation that y'all can have of me is I'm going to be talking a lot today, but the goal is to be a hands-on experiential course. and I'm going to be stopping and pointing out things that I do. I also invite you to ask questions, and as you learn more, stop and point out with other of the people in the course what you really liked, because chances are other people will really like it too. Collectively, the wisdom of this group is much, much higher than each individual person. So. Yeah, chat with me. Obviously, like, y'all have life, we have life, it's okay. Like, we will navigate something, but if you have to miss something, please just reach out to me and we'll figure out where to go from there. The last one is where I'm going to put our resources for the course. Everything that I'm going to give to, my slides, this design dash that we're going to do, I'm going to put it all into a space where y'all can access it. It's yours to take, free, run with it, use it. We're going to be using WIP, which stands for the Wond'ry Idea Platform, which after this course, I'm going to send you an email that's going to have the link to actually sign up. And you'll see there's going to be a big main page. You're going to go to the Design Facilitation Certificate page. And then within it, this is going to be our cohort page. Everything is going to be posted right in here, in this cohort page. So resources, exercise outlines, all of that is going to be in there. Take it, use it as you wish, right? So look for an email after this. Okay, I'm going to take a quick breath, because we're about to go into a design dash. So many of you have done these before. This is going to be quick. We have about an hour to go through a design dash. So everybody is at a table, hopefully with 4 or 5 people. Again, if you've done this before and you are really comfortable with the process, kick back, learn with your table and watch how I facilitate and see if there's anything that you want to try as well, okay? So the reason why I'm doing this, again, is to get everybody on the same page and have you all have this activity, and this is going to be something that you can do by the end of this course. So, Dan, can you help me pass these out? So, this is a design dash. It can be 60 minutes. It can be, not everybody needs to have a packet, because you're going to be walking through the whole process together. I think this table needs some more. Okay, so follow the instructions. Please don't open the front page yet. You're going to be using Sharpies. You're going to be using Post-it notes. And you're going to be using the packet. If you don't have your own packet, just look on with the person next to them. What's up? Yeah, you want to come over? Yeah, we want to have about 5 per group. 6 is fine.
Does anybody else need one? We each have one.
Yeah, is anyone missing one? Anyone not have one? In the back? Okay. Buckle in. We love a design dash. Okay. So, everyone should have one. So let's start on the first page. Nice and easy. Meet your team. Your first assignment as a team is you got to pick a number between 1 and 30. Don't think about it too much. Feel free to draw a picture of yourself on a Post-it and put it on the front page. You don't have to do that. But as a group, I'm going to give you 1 minute to come up with a number between 1 and 30. Ready, go. So we're going to go around. We're going to have each group share out their number. Make sure that you don't have the same number as someone else. Starting over here. 15. Was it? 28. 16. What is it? Okay, what's your backup number? 17. 25. 20. Excellent. So, flip the page over. This is what you're going to be doing your design dash on. Your number corresponds with a topic. Everybody knows something about all of these topics, and y'all are going to redesign this topic in some way, shape, or form. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it, okay? So can we quickly share out what everyone's topics are? What do you all have?
Learning a new language.
Okay, new language.
Cleaning your house.
Cleaning your house.
Being at the airport.
Being at the airport. What is it?
Planning a vacation.
Planning a vacation. Love it. Preserving memories. Watching TV and movies. Excellent. So let's go ahead and start with the empathize phase, right? Y'all are at a table with a bunch of best friends that you just met. So why don't we start there? Each team member is going to share out 3 ways that they connect with the topic that your team has. 3 ways, doesn't have to be too intense, any way that you connect. So everybody go through and share those ways that you connect to the topic. Ready, go. So like I said, even if not everybody did get a chance to share, part of a facilitator's role is to keep the ball moving. And so I think one of the things that I also want to highlight about a design dash is it's not about perfection, it's not about completion. It can be really difficult to not have your voice be heard, so I do recognize that, and I'm sorry. But at the same time, we're about to give another opportunity to have everybody's voice be heard. This could be a great opportunity for you, Sarah, because what we're doing next is we are going to now practice interviewing. So when we talk about empathy, there's a couple different ways that you can actually empathize with people. What you just did at your table with your team is a really excellent way where very quickly you just learned, 5 other people's viewpoints on what you actually were redesigning. Now, an example is if your team is developed by practice area, by functionality, what you may get is a very specific viewpoint on one problem. So this is where interviews become really powerful, is we're gonna have everybody get a chance, we're gonna choose one person from each team to stand up and rotate. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna answer questions from the table that they're going to about that table's topic. So can you remind me what your topic was again? Learning a new language. So for example, if Sarah was going to rotate here, this table is going to ask Sarah questions about learning a new language, right? And what that does is it just gives one more perspective. It's an outside perspective. In this situation, these are very diverse groups that just met, but this is a really powerful way to get new perspectives when you're doing a design dash with teams that are designed based on functionality, just to get an outside perspective, right? So a couple things to point out that are really important when you're coming up with questions to ask this person is we're seeking stories. You can find a lot out about how somebody feels and how they react to situations when you look for stories. For example, airport, tell me about a time people got stories, and that will communicate a lot. And then when you're going through that, you're also talking about feelings, right? You're trying to dig a little bit deeper. You're trying to figure out what is a real challenge that this person has, or what is a real experience that this person has had with that topic. Does that make sense? So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to decide who's going to stand up, and we're going to try and do which way is this? Counterclockwise? A counterclockwise rotation where, Sarah, you come down, and then you all go back, and then come over here. It's kind of like a star. Any questions about the interview? One person is going to go, and then after that 5 minutes, they're going to go back to their table. Cool? All right, 30 seconds to decide who's going to stand up and go, and then feel free to rotate and then start asking questions. We're going to give you about 5 minutes to ask that person questions about their experience with your topic. Okay, hit it. So feel free to rotate back. I know that's, again, we're moving quick. That's okay. So everybody rotate back, and then I'm going to quickly point out a couple things that I did, as well as point out a couple things that other people did that I thought were really good during this session. So whenever there's something that is opened up to the group, one of the best things to do as a facilitator is to walk around and to listen to the conversations, and also to look and see, are the groups doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they moving through the process in the way that you want to? So I think a good example was in the instructions that I gave, I probably wasn't super clear about taking notes, that you should be taking notes, when people should be moving. So one of the things I noticed as I was walking around was this group was listening raptly, but wasn't taking notes. So I was like, just a little reminder, take some notes, as well as some of the clarification questions around What type of questions are we asking? You want to be available as a facilitator to answer those questions quick on the fly. And that allows you to keep each group moving along at its own pace. Keeping track of some groups are clipping along and they're doing great. Others will always need a little bit more clarification. So being able to move around in the space is a powerful tool. Excellent. So at this point, you've now gotten at least 5 or 6 different perspectives around your topic. So now we're going to move into the define phase. So we've empathized, we've developed a whole host of ideas or what could be potential problems, what could be potential challenges, what could be potential ways that we could utilize this or redesign this area in a way to be more beneficial for more people. And that's where we're going to go. Everybody can turn to the next page. And we're going to define our challenge. So this is where we're going to come to a point with a very intentional challenge statement. So there's two. Number 1 and number 2, I typically don't worry about too much, like drawing a picture and nicknaming the person that you talked to, or trying to generalize who is this person, Mr. Clean, whatever. I don't think you need to worry about those too much. I really want you to focus on 3, 4, and 5. So what are the main problems and challenges that the person that you just talked to may have brought up, as well as you're taking into the perspective of the whole group that you just empathized with? Are there any themes that kept on coming up as a potential pain point as you talked about the airport or learning a new learning a new language, right? Once you have an idea of like maybe 1 or 2 themes, you're going to try and dig a little bit deeper. What is the underlying challenge? What is the thing? What's the need behind their need? And that is how we're going to define what we call it our how might we statement. And that's actually going to be our guiding light as we move into the ideate prototype test phase. We want to make sure we're answering the right question. So a great example of a good how might we statement is how might we improve the refugee experience in Nashville, right? That may have been a series of conversations that once you dig a little bit deeper, you're realizing that, okay, the refugee, you could have talked to somebody and then you realize that that was part of the refugee experience. And that's how you come to a how might we statement. I will point out this section is a challenging section. I'm going to ask you to do it in about 8 minutes. It's okay if it doesn't feel comfortable. It's going to be a little challenging. What I'm going to ask you is, even if you don't think it's perfect, try and come to one how might we statement in the next 8 minutes. So again, you're pulling together all of the insights you've created into what's a problem statement that we can address. I saw one question back there. Yeah, it's a really good point, right? In this whole process, the better you can actually identify your audience, the better you can start to ideate and brainstorm potential solutions that will help that audience. So I think for the sake of this exercise, yeah, like if you can dial it down to a specific audience, that will make your brainstorming a lot easier. So as you've heard, and maybe it's just choose one track, right? Maybe just choose the person that you talk to, their experience, and use it to choose an audience moving forward. And I think that's where these 2 places are coming in, is they're trying to help you generalize who your audience might be. Is it the person who is always worried about being clean in all these spaces? Is it the person who's always worried about a calendar? So how might we design a tool that the calendar wizard can use easily without frustrating other people? Is an example of that. Okay?
And we're basing it off the person that just swapped to our table.
Yes. Okay. I would say use their insights as a great place to start. Obviously, you also have your insights, so if you can see a clear path, then you can define for a lot of people. But if you see one clear experience from the person that you talk to, come up with your how might we for that person for now. Cool? Okay. Tool that I call a pulse check. It's a very easy way for me as a facilitator to see how all the groups are doing. I want to see a thumb. We call it a thermometer. All the way up is my group has got our how might we feel really good about it. All the way down is not even close, like I need another 10 minutes, and then somewhere on. So can I see a quick thermometer on where y'all are at with yours? Okay, feeling good. One more time. Okay, so even all of y'all can see we've got 2 groups that feel good. We've got 4 groups that are kind of in the middle. So I'm going to be flexible as a facilitator and say, all right, take a couple more minutes. As a group, keep talking. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 more minutes to dial this in before we move on. Cool? Okay. Bring it back in. I'm reading the room. I'm seeing that most groups are feeling comfortable. If there's a group, I can come help y'all out in a second, but also you should be good. As a group, sometimes as a facilitator, you got to keep the show on the road. Got to keep moving, right? So we've developed our problem statement. Next, we get in the part that everyone thinks, innovation, yeah, let's go, brainstorming. Well, this is what we're about to do. So what I want you to do, use your Post-it notes, feel free. I'm going to give y'all individually 2 to 3 minutes to brainstorm your own ideas of potentially what a solution might look like for your how might we statement. So don't feel like it has to be one idea. Use your Post-it notes. Come up with 1, come up with 2, come up with 3. A lot of times we say in brainstorming it takes a lot of ideas to come up with a good idea. So don't constrain yourself. Now's the time. Go buck wild for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to let you come together as a group and have another 3 or 4 minutes to come up with a potential solution. That's why I put these big sketch boards. Feel free to draw it on there. It can look like a flow chart. It can look like an app. It can look like a picture. And then we'll go in. Actually, no, we're going to use these on the prototype, so forget what I just said. Just brainstorm for 3 minutes, listen to the ding, and then do it together as a group. Individually brainstorm for 3, and then we'll get together as a whole group. Okay, ready, hit it. Proposed solutions are, and then we're going to actually move right into the next step, which is going to be the prototyping. And that is where, so I want you to share out with your group and then start drawing what a potential solution could look like. It can be, it's a rough sketch, so don't worry about it being perfect. Sorry. I have a couple playlists that the D School puts out, and you never know what's going to come up. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's somebody doing. But the whole point is to fill the noise and hopefully let people feel more comfortable creating, and I'm scared of silence. So share out with your group and your potential solutions, and then start drawing what a prototype might look like. Okay, I'm going to give you more time for this phase. Any questions right now? Okay, hit it. That y'all are still talking. This is great. We're sharing. I'm going to encourage you to move on to the sketching part. So I want to use the next 5 or so minutes. Even if it's not perfect, we're trying to get something out there. Have one person sketch, and as a team, add ideas to what that solution might look like, okay? It's nearly the last one. What's it? 15 seconds now.
We only have 10 seconds.
Okay, wrap up your last conversations. Again, this is a rough prototype, right? Yeah, it is quite rough. So, you've come up with a potential solution. With the time that we have left, I want the original person that you talked to cycle back in, and I want them to give feedback on your solution. So one person on the team is going to explain what your solution is. You have to explain it in 1 minute. 1 minute to explain what your solution is. 3 minutes for the original person to give feedback, all right? So rotate. Okay, 1 minute to describe it. Okay, feedback. Your person should be giving feedback. Thank your feedbackers, your interviewees. Okay. So, to quickly reflect on what we have done. I know I feel like a bit of a tyrant up here. The chimes may not be a pleasant sound, but they are effective. A big part of my role, or anybody and all of y'all's role as a facilitator, is you have to push a little bit to keep within the time constraints. We'll talk a lot about that, but this is an experience of that's one of the challenges of your role. Use the tools that you have and move people along. So to review what we've done so far, which is pretty impressive given that we've done it in 55 minutes, is you're introduced the topic to redesign. You empathized with your teammates and somebody new. You defined a clear challenge statement. You brainstormed potential solutions, and as a group, you came up with a prototype. You then went back to your original user and got feedback. Now, that is one cycle of the design thinking process. This, the iterate, is ideally now you would use this feedback that you got from your actual end user to tweak and improve what your prototype is. So you go from version 1 to version 2, and every time you go back through this cycle, you're actually getting closer and closer to a solution that is beneficial for your end user. So that is the design thinking process, a design dash in 60 minutes. Hopefully you will have a lot more time than that, but the goal is you have a 1-hour design dash to do as this final deliverable. You've seen that that might be pretty fast, so we're going to equip you with the skills to be able to do that on your own, okay? So the final step is obviously to iterate. So the last thing I'm going to ask you to do before I send you on your way, we're going to talk a lot about feedback. This is a tool that you can use at the end. We call it I like, I wish, I wonder. You'll see in the back there's actually a board. What I want you to do is take 2 minutes on Post-it notes to write something that you liked about this session, something that you wished or something that you wished you could have changed, and something that you're wondering about. And then as I send you off, I want you to stick it on the board if possible. And I'm really excited to see you all do this in 5 weeks' time. Quick logistics things and then send you off with this quote. Number 1, if you haven't signed in, please sign in at the little sign-in thing. And number 2, there was something there. Oh, take your name tags with you and bring them back if you can next week. No worries if you don't, but they'll be used. So remember, leading is all about learning to be a facilitator. That's what you're doing at this course. I'm going to power clap us out on 3. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. We're going to all clap in unison. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have an amazing Wednesday night. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Got it.